Welcome everyone to the Empower Her Business podcast, formerly known as Women of Color in Business. As you know, we are shifting our focus, rebranding, and we're focusing on Black women entrepreneurs during those crucial first 5 years. I call it the make it or break it years in business. We are working to combat and impact the fact that 97% of our businesses owned by Black women founders, do not make it to see their fifth year in business or beyond. So we want to make a difference in that area. So I'm joined today in one of our roundtable series where I bring to you not just one brilliant Black woman entrepreneur, but three have joined us today. And they're going to share with us to help you elevate your business and not just survive, but thrive beyond those 5 years. So let's begin with the introduction. I'm going to begin with Bernice Jackson. So Bernice Jackson is the owner of Rise of Dark Dawn. She takes clients on an educational understanding, learning what their problems are and solving their pain points, creating a vision of strategies that delivers branding solutions that engage their audience, drive traffic, and thereby increase their sales. Welcome, Bernice. We also have with us Kiah. Kiah is a native of Charleston, South Carolina, a wife and a mother of one daughter. She is the principal and senior IT consultant at Sirius Web Solutions, which was established in 2002. It specializes in website development, digital archiving, graphic design, and e-marketing strategies. Kiah earned her BS in Communications Information Systems from Florida A&M University and a Webmaster certification from Florida State University. Welcome, Kiah. We also have with us Makisha. Makisha is the founder and head business coach of Sistahbiz Global Network, which is a dynamic business hub dedicated to empowering Black women entrepreneurs. Through training, coaching, tools, and a supportive community, Sistahbiz aims to close the wealth gap and help Black women solopreneurs and micro businesses build scalable and sellable enterprises. As the head business coach, Makisha specializes in guiding micro businesses to rethink their revenue models, human capital strategies, branding, systems, and resource allocation. Welcome, Makisha. So ladies and audience, today we are talking about money, your money mindset. The first questions we're going to begin with for our panel is, how has your money mindset influenced the way you price your services or products? And I will begin with Kiah. You can start answering that one.
Wow, money mindset. Well, when I first got into business for myself, I had an idea of how to charge. At the time, I was working in an IT department when I was in corporate America, and I knew how much they were charging for my services. I saw a proposal by accident. And so, which I don't believe in accidents. Yeah. And so I said, oh, that's how much they're charging me. And I'm doing my calculation. This is how much I'm getting in my paycheck. Right. So I got an idea of, at least at the corporate level, how much my time was worth to other clients, to our clients. And when I did take that leap to go into business for myself, after I got my webmaster certification, they also had given us some advice on what is the going rate for these. So I kind of put it somewhere in between, but on the lower end, because I was just starting out. So my thing was, let me get some clients. Once I have proof of concept that I know what I'm doing, because clearly the company was making a lot of money off of my programming and things of that nature. And so stepping out there, a few people took a chance on me. And so once I got the name out there, got the clientele, started getting my first big contract with the university. That was the biggest one I had. And then I said, I'm going to bump the prices up a little bit more because
Uh-huh.
clearly I know what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And clearly you're playing for my training and expertise. And they said there's something that said it may take someone 10 years to train. You're paying for all that training. It may take me 10 minutes of doing, but you're paying for all the education and the training that I've
Mm.
done so I can do it in 10 minutes or an
Uh-huh.
hour or something, and it'll take you forever to figure it out.
Mm.
So I had to get comfortable with raising my rates because inflation is real, bills are real. So that was a little bit uncomfortable at first. I had to get comfortable with knowing my worth and the value of my time and my expertise.
Mm.
And then learning to say no, learning to turn down contracts if people were not willing or able at that time to pay my fee. Because sometimes you want to give people a hookup and that happens. You do
Yeah.
ask for a discount. I was like, well, if this is your budget, this is what I can do for you.
Mm.
But if you want all these bells and whistles, this is how much it's going to cost. So at first, I'll try to work with you. I'll work within your budget.
Mm.
I ask what you want. Here's what it costs. That's not your budget. Let's see what we can do. And then we can build and add on from there. So I try, but there have been a few times I had to decline, as much as it hurt,
Right, right.
But I'm more comfortable with that now because since going full time since 2004, in the beginning, it was, I was a little nervous because I had bills to pay and a business to sustain and a daughter, so it was a lot of responsibility. I would have been more reckless if my daughter wasn't there. I wouldn't say reckless. I would have taken more chances.
Mm.
I
Mm.
would say I would have taken more risk financially, but I did play it a little bit safe, because of her.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you for that. Makisha or Bernice, either one of you can jump in.
Yeah, I mean it's similar. When I was starting out, I actually fell into this because of COVID, right, and not being able to secure another job during that time. So I had to make some magic happen,
Mhm.
and so my prices started off low because I was unsure of who, what, when, where, and why. And then as I grew, I started increasing my prices based on some different programs I was in. But what really triggered me was I was talking to this young lady. She was a sister. And she looked at what I was doing. She was like, "You do what? You offer this for what?" And she laughed at me. I was like, "What?" She's like, "No, it's laughable because I would never ever do all of this for what you pay. When I started out with 5,000. She was like, "And I take no jobs under 10,000, and what
Mhm.
you offer would be well over 10,000." I was like, "Shut the front door." Right? She was like, "My male counterparts charge nothing but 10,000. They start at
Mhm.
10,000." And so she helped me structure some things and then find my self-worth,
Mhm.
my self-confidence cuz unsure, but you're delivering it. So what are you
Right.
unsure about? That was her question. I was like, I am delivering it. So what am I unsure about, right?
Ah.
And so I needed some coaching.
Mhm.
And I've been grateful that God has aligned people up. It's like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to go. And so it was because I was an emotional sale. You tell me a sad sob story, and okay, right? Because I want to help everyone, but you can't. If you're gonna, you got to choose whether you're gonna elevate here to another client level or you're gonna stay down here, right? And I've even asked people ask me, "Can you do a website for $50?" Say what now? So once you understand your self worth and where you have reached, the level you've reached, then you will become more comfortable with saying no. And I had to say no,
Mm.
and just like Kiah was hurtful, but I'm hungry too.
Okay. Yes, yes. Makisha, what do you
Hmm.
have to say on this question?
So for me, I, I I don't know that I'm gonna go back to when I was consulting, just primarily consulting prior to running Sister Biz, and I started off working, for a school district, and when I started consulting, actually it was prior to that, but actually when I was working at the Capitol, I started taking on contracts on the side, and that's kind of how I started consulting on the side. And so originally my mindset was just like, I want to do something that is short term, project based, that'll bring in an extra $30,000 to $50,000 a year that I can just use for like my financial goals, whether it's debt or wealth building. And so as long as I, can secure a contract or two each year, that'll help me do extra stuff I'm trying to do with my own planning, financial management and planning. And, this is like 15 or plus years ago. And so, I started there. And so my mindset, because you asked about like what's the mindset that drives pricing, it just literally started with like, what do I want? Like I never really started with like, how do you price things? I started with like, what is it I'm trying to do in my life that I need this money for, and how much of it do I need? So I would go there. And then when I started, now I had already run businesses before. I owned a day spa, all the stuff. So I've had pricing experiences in a bunch of different ways, but for when it comes to like consulting, like what we're talking about now, it started with like me kind of really getting clear on what I needed to sustain myself and build what I was trying to build in my life, and just being unapologetic about like, okay, now go after the opportunity once I know what it is I'm trying to do and what I need to get there. And then the second thing, similar to, I think Kiah, you mentioned this. When I worked for the school district, I managed contractors for the school district that were doing professional development for school leadership teams that I was training and developing. And these contractors were being paid in six-figure space for the work they were doing. And so I got to not only see like, oh, this is what you make for this, but I also got to see this is what comes with that level of a contract in terms of deliverables. This is the type of teams they bring on board. This is the quality of the PD. This is the frameworks and the credentials they bring and that sort of thing. And so I kind of got a sense of what that looked like, and that helped me to get my head around being a six-figure consultant. And so as soon as I left the school district, within months of leaving, I landed my first six-figure contract. And so, yeah, I think it's really an important thing that Kiah said, in that so often, unless you run up on by mistake like Kiah did, or you have the responsibility of seeing the numbers in some way, they don't tell us how badly we are being underpaid. You don't know it. So all you're working with is what you have access to as a starting point.
Right.
It's really important to talk to high earning consultants and people in your industry that are high earning, to understand how they price and what they charge, and that it's possible, and what comes with that level of earning in terms of deliverables and setup and marketing and sales. So yeah, I would say those two things were probably two big things. One, just first of all, what do you want? Like, build your life before you choose the business that's going to support it. Build the dream vision that you have for what kind of money you want to come in, and then design a product and a pricing that helps you get there. I think so often we just kind of work from a space of survival versus like, no, dream and design, and then find the opportunity that matches that big vision.
That's a great tip. Y'all dropped some great gems there. I love the concept of, we don't know that we're being so grossly underpaid, right? Because when you're working a job and you go for a raise, or you're thinking about getting a raise, they're always talking about the dollars are tight, right? We're not getting going to be able to give raises this year, but you don't know how they are profiting from the service you're giving. So to actually be able to see those contracts and those numbers and be like, oh, like both Kiah and Makisha, this is what I do, or this is what is done, and this is what they get for doing this. And then Bernice, having someone else to tell you, like, I would never do this for that much, because starting out as new entrepreneurs, pricing is something that we really have to investigate, as opposed to going from emotion, like, okay, so I made this much an hour at this job, so if I could just replace that salary by doing this, when you really can make so much more, as a contractor than as an employee, because as an employee, they are considering what the benefits I give you are included in you being here, and that's why your salary is this amount, which it really doesn't, add up like that. That the numbers are not numbering like that. So great information. So I guess on that line, if there's anything we can get out from this question, from what we just discussed, why do you think so many Black women entrepreneurs through that first 5-year period struggle with pricing confidence?
I guess it just depends on where they are in that business process. If I look at myself, when I was in corporate America, the money was good. And I will say it was good, but you work for every penny, but they were making a ton of money off of us in order to pay us well, and my stage was when my boss at the time actually wanted me to choose between the job and my daughter. We had evaluations. I actually got 3 raises in 2 years. So I did good work. And I stayed overtime sometimes. And this last evaluation, she was like, oh, it doesn't seem like the company is your first priority. And I'm like, no, God, family. I have a daughter. She had children. Her children were teenagers, which was interesting. So everyone's idea of motherhood and family looks different. That was clear to me at that conversation. And I was like, well, I'll be honest with you. I was like, if you tell me at 4:30 on a Friday that I need to work overtime, I need more advance notice, because I had to pick up my daughter from daycare. She was a toddler at the time. So, but if I have advance notice and I can make arrangements, then yeah. So at that stage in my life, it pushed me, because I had a 5-year plan, but I had to make a decision, because now you pushing me against the wall and you're giving me an uncomfortable ultimatum, and you're trying to wear me out. I said, my daughter doesn't understand mommy's busy. I'm working overtime. Sometimes I'm bringing her in the office to finish projects for you. I'm working more than 40 on a regular basis, 40 hours a week on a regular basis, and you're still complaining and you want more. I said, the money good, but it ain't that good for my sanity. But I'm like, I'm missing and I made a choice. So my 5-year plan turned into like a 2.5, 3-year plan to step out of corporate America. So at that point, it was I didn't have a lot of planning time. I was already saving money, and I was like, oh, in 2 more years I can do. So I had a plan to save up this money for so many years, and then I'll step out. But that one evaluation, that change where you're telling me to make a choice or asking me to make a choice, that really put me in a place of, okay, I got to pivot. I have to shift. Similar to Bernice's with the COVID situation. It's like, oh, this thing happened. No one saw it coming. You got to pivot. And so based on that stage in my life, I said, okay, I have this much financial responsibility that I have to cover no matter what. So actually, when I went into doing my business, quote unquote, on the side, I actually I went and got an OPS job contract. So I worked that for 20 hours a week, so at least my major bills could be paid. Because when you're starting a business, it's up and down. There's ebbs and there's flows, and you really don't have your stability yet. So I didn't have the luxury of getting an SBA loan, Small Business Administration loan, or a bank loan, maxing out credit cards, because it came all of a sudden. I really had to adjust. And so I did that for a couple of years, but still building the business. And I was very clear with them. I was like, even though they offered me a full-time position and it was tempting, I got a lot of offers to go and work for this full time. Even when I took out small contracts, oh, if you work for us full time, I said, but I'm working on my business. This is a dream of mine, and this will give me more time and flexibility for my daughter, time for myself. So I made sure I put it on myself, keep this a part-time gig. So it forced me to really focus on the business and build it up, because the finances, my financial stability was on the line. And I didn't want to go to my family for a lot of help because they thought I was crazy for leaving corporate America in the
That good
first
job.
place. So I didn't want to hear I told you so. It's like,
Yep.
you leaving that good job? I'm like, you
Right.
don't understand. The money isn't worth it. I'm stressed.
Mm,
I can't anymore. I'm burnt out. And my daughter is going to suffer because of that.
right.
I said, some money's not worth it. And so at that stage in my life, I didn't have a plan, but I have some colleagues who did put a plan in and said, oh, I'm going to get an SBA loan. I'm going to do this. And, I went to all those workshops, SBA, small business camp. And so there's different pathways to entrepreneurship. And depending on what stage you are in your life, it determines what kind of risk you can take.
Right.
If it'll be a slower path for you to get to that goal of entrepreneurship, if you have to work part-time just to keep some regular bills coming in because you have other responsibilities. If I came straight out of college, I could be a little bit more, flexible and take chances and maybe go back home, live, but I had a lot of responsibilities. So I had to take a different path than some of my colleagues did. And that shaped how I dealt with money. I've always been a frugal person, naturally. So I was really determined. I was like, I can't go into a lot of debt. I still have skills, but I really resisted multiple attempts to go back into the workforce because it's tempting. It is very tempting.
Because it seems a lot easier. Let me just get that salary, and that it's not really security. As you spoke about getting that evaluation, it's not really secure, but it feels more secure.
It does.
And then you have those benefits covered. But
Let's not even go there with that.
Yeah, I love that you gave or explained the process that entrepreneurship, your journey in entrepreneurship looks different for different people based on what your responsibilities are.
Yeah.
Like you were building your business. You were not in corporate America, but you had a contract while you were building your business, and you stuck to what the dream you wanted to build with that. So that kind of informed how you manage your money, what you did when you earned your money, and what your relationship was with how much consulting you were going to do versus being an employee again.
Yeah.
So great information. Bernice and Makisha, anything on that?
Well, I think I can speak for me and a few women I've talked to. When you're so used to making everything happen yourself, you work in a silo and you're like, okay, I could do this, I can do this. And people come to you with problems. Okay, I can fix this and fix this. But when you step out of that safe place of corporate and now you're doing it all yourself, it's like, oh my God. Now it's a lost thing. Like, okay, how do you, and instead of reaching out to get help, you're trying to figure it out yourself. You're trying to do it all yourself. And you don't know hey, go to the SBA or go to this until you run into someone that can already give you those things. If you don't have that team within your home or that team within your circle that's already been there or that can give you some direction or willing to help you, you keep grinding and grinding and grinding, and you're hitting that wall, and then you like, let me lift my head up and do something and find some help somewhere. So, and then because you've been doing it, now you got to find your confidence in this new avenue, this new adventure that you're in. Like, am I sure? Can I do this? I know I can do this, right? So for me, I think it's just when you're used to doing it all and working in a silo and you got it, and now you're into a new space, it's like you got to figure out a new way to operate.
Yes, I feel that. Anything to add, Makisha?
I think maybe two things come to mind for me. One, I do think there's an actual art and science to pricing that they just don't know. So they come into business and they don't know how to look at costs. They don't know how to look at the market. They don't know how to look at competition and do a competitive analysis. They don't know how to look at customer and demand and like which customers, bracket you're in to be able to charge a certain amount of money. And so then they just charge kind of with no sort of strategy in mind. And so that is one reason I see underpricing or overpricing, quite frankly. We don't talk about it a lot because we're so used to being underpaid, but I see people who haven't yet matched the value with the offer, and then they don't understand why they're not getting paid. And it's not necessarily that they couldn't make that much, but they haven't yet designed an offer that matches the price. And so just having that, the customer, the offer, and the pricing all in sync is what is usually missing. When people are underpricing or mispricing, and not making the money they want, and just also not covering costs is an issue, because you're not thinking about first let me pay for what it is that I'm creating for you, and then let me make a profit. And so we often then, and not just with supplies, but time and expertise. So I'm not charging you for the fact that, like Kiah said, I've been doing this for 10 years, but I can get it to you conveniently in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not charging you for the fact that it takes this certain amount of hours because it's a customized package, or it's been done customized for you. I'm not charging you for the supplies, and I'm not charging you for labor, which means then labor ends up being me. That's why we usually charge for it, because we don't consider ourselves labor, even though we are often the frontline labor in our company, which never then means we don't set ourselves up to hire and actually have labor because it's not in the pricing.
Right.
And so I just see a lot of that probably not, and I think a lot of that is associated with employee mindset. You never had to think about those things before because someone else was running the show. And so when you go into business, I would say for my first 5-year ladies, definitely do your homework to educate yourself and learn, the craft, the formulas around pricing, and it'll take some time to learn, and you'll make some mistakes, and you'll move your pricing up and down until you get it right. But it's a really important thing to learn and understand. Read as much as you can. Don't just pull prices out of the air.
Very good, very good. I love one of the things you do, Makisha, with your program and your workshops is that you actually take Black women entrepreneurs through that process of they can learn about pricing and what they should be considering, and what their break-even point is, and how much profit do you want to make, and what does that mean with your expenses. And to your point, there is so much in entrepreneurship that we don't have to deal with as an employee. And there are so many different hats we have to wear when we step into entrepreneurship as a solopreneur that we have to your point, Bernice, we have to get assistance. It's not a journey we can take along and be successful. Because there's no way you know all the information you need to know to run your business successfully. You just don't. So you have to find those resources that can assist you in learning what you need to learn. And it is a learning process. It's definitely time you have to invest in learning it. So great information. Have you guys ever had the experience where you had to handle a client that pushed back and said, this is too expensive? And how do you handle that?
All the time.
Because I know our ladies just starting out, when they get that, they probably feel like, oh, I need to lower my price. Maybe it is too much. So I want to know how you guys have journeyed through that experience, like when you first started out, and then how you handle it now. So how would you advise someone just starting out to handle it?
Wow. Well, I would say it was today, unfortunately, with technology, they have all these do-it-yourself tools with website graphic design. I'm not a fan of them, And what I tell some of my clients who come to me with that, he's like, oh, I can do this for free. I was like, well, then you can do that. And then a month or two later, they come back because they didn't know what they were doing, even with one of these free little, do-it-yourself tools.
Yes.
I would say in the beginning, I was a little bit more in a negotiating mood because I was just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I mentioned before, I'll put together the proposal, we talk, we say what you need, and that's like, this is how much it's going to cost. And then they say, okay, I can't afford that. Can you do it for this much? I'm like, no, I can't do that for this much. But what is your budget? Let's see what we can do. You may want a 20-page website with a lot of interactive features and things of that nature, but your budget says you can only afford a 5-page. I say, so we can just do this in phases. Let's look at your project now in phases. Phase 1 is you get your 5 pages just to get you a presence out there.
Yeah.
And then when your budget allows, we can add on and so that's where I am today. Then I was a little bit more in wiggle room. I said, oh, you're a nonprofit. I'll give you a 15% discount because you're a nonprofit. I would hear the stories. I was like, Bernice, like, oh, I know. And then, oh, it's for the community, Can you do it for the community? I'm like, really? The community paying my bills? So I've heard it all. I've heard barters that were unbalanced. Can you build us a website and then you can get into our event for free? I'm like, your event is like, what, $100? This is gonna cost you a few thousand. No. So I've been through, I've heard barters, I've heard, hook up, for the community. I've heard it all. So now I'm more in a position where here's my portfolio. You see my work, you know what I can do. If you want it done well, we can work together. If you want it done cheap, you get what you paid for. You might want to go somewhere else. So I'm more comfortable saying, no, I cannot work with this project within this budget, but you can come back and see me when you're ready. I haven't had to do that so many times, but I have negotiated where they have yielded and say, okay, this is all we can afford, then we'll just go with that. So that's more often happens, but there's been a few times I've had to say, no, thank you. And then they come back because they might have gone to someone who say, oh, I'll do it for $200. I'll give you a 10-page, and it was messed up, and then they bring me back in to fix it, and so I've had that happen a couple of times as well. So then they be like, okay, I guess you're good. I was like, yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this like 20-some years. Come on now.
You're right.
Yeah. I got receipts. That's what they say now.
Yes.
I got receipts.
You got receipts.
That's the new thing. That's what they're saying now. So,
yes. Yeah. Okay. Anything to add, Bernice and Makisha?
For me, I think I would approach this maybe a little bit different than most people do. So I think the conversation generally in our community around pricing is, if they don't want to pay, walk away. And there is some truth to that. But here's the thing that I see. I want to just go in another direction completely. You typically are in the wrong circles. You typically don't have the social capital or the network where those types of things are not going to happen to you. And so you're not in a room with people who have 8-figure budgets, so they're willing to pay 6-figure contracts, or even 5-figure or 5-figure contracts. And so if you're in a room where the average person that you're trying to get to pay you has a full budget for their organization of less than 6 figures, then it's unrealistic. And quite frankly, I don't know how ethical it is to expect somebody who's not making any money to pay you a certain amount of money. And so I think if you want people who are going to be able to pay you, you should check their budget first. Like, do they even have it? And are you in rooms where everybody in the room has it? Because then you're past the point where you're trying to figure out how to get past the nickeling and diming of people who can't afford you. And now the work is to do the second thing that I want to come to, which is, are you articulating value properly so that people don't question your pricing? Because sometimes it's not that they wouldn't pay. They're just not going to pay you because you're not properly articulating the reason why your pricing looks the way it looks. And that's what sales is about. Sales is about the proper messaging of the value of the offer. You want to make it obvious, like, so that they be embarrassed to like say they don't want to pay. It's like obvious that this is why.
Right.
And so I think a lot of times I see women who don't know how to articulate the value of the offer. And the crazy thing is that Black women tend to customize and just go over and above and over in quality. Like most customers, clients that I work with, they are serious about the quality of their product or service. So if they just knew how to articulate that, then they would get less pushback around like, why are you charging this much? And it's not, sometimes the value isn't there, but that's not always. Usually it's the values there, you're not articulating it right. And so I think that's really, really important. And stop doing all the custom work. Because it is expensive, and then you have to figure out how to articulate that. But I want more of us to look at like, stop selling whatever the customer wants. Get your business to a place where you stay in your lane, you offer something turnkey that takes you less time because it's systematized and productized. And now with AI and technology, and the speed at which those things move, we do have to look at how can we offer things faster and more conveniently without breaking our backs to deliver. And I do think there's a sweet spot between like remaining competitive in that we do have, when you're working with a consultant or a contractor, you have that in-person personal touch that AI can't give you. But at the same time, like, how can I also figure out how to tech enable my business or my processes in a way that take so much labor off of me from customizing and stuff? Because then when we do charge and we don't get what we want, it's like you're working and you're not getting compensated for all the time and effort you put into it. And some of that's charged more, but some of it is like, how can I create a more productized product so that it's not costing me as much time and labor and resources to deliver?
Great points.
Yeah.
Being able to articulate the value is key, I think. Like you said, Makisha, we do so much behind the scenes that we're wearing ourselves down, but the customer has no idea that value, what it took to get this to you, right? So if we're able to articulate, this is what it takes to get this to you, and this is the value of this, because we have it in our head and in our heart, but we have to be able to express it. So maybe we need training on sales, on, what's telling our story, telling the value of what we give, what we bring, what makes us different.
Why? And not just sales of the core product, but sales of the add-ons, because we tend to do all that stuff. And like, let's say Kiah makes a website for somebody, and then the website, like she said, there's the difference between the 5-page website basic and the 20-page website with all the bells and whistles. And we have to learn how to charge for the bells and whistles. Like, okay, you want that? No problem. Like mid-project, no problem. That's going to cost you another $2,000. That's going to cost you another $500. Do you want to move forward with that? No problem. Add it on, but you're going to pay for it.
Right.
And so really understanding how to bundle and unbundle your products so that you can make money when you add those things on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes. I love that.
Yep, definitely.
So, ladies, have you ever invested in yourself? I'm talking about with coaching, tools, education, and how did it shift how you see your own value?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, even though I'm minored in business, I did visit the Small Business Administration took advantage of their workshops, networking opportunities. I paid for like a small business boot camp. His name was Andrew Morrison. He really got me to think beyond myself so I can build a team. He was like, think about all the things you need to run your business. Do you know someone who can do that for you while you run your business, do your business? So he got me thinking of outside of myself. I've even gone to Black Enterprise conferences, various business conferences, now some virtual, and now I'm presenting at various conferences, through doing the work. So I think investing in ourselves is very important because it helps us be a better business owner, but not also in our industry, because you got to go to these tech conferences, see what's the latest thing. Black Tech Week that they started down here. I would go to Black Tech Week so I can see that we're not alone in this space and network with other people who look like me in the tech space. So I think that's very important to lift up our heads from whatever our business is for a moment, see what's going on in the industry, get more skills so we can take our businesses and ourselves to the next level. And, that will translate into serving our clients a little bit better, offering them better services. And then there was one business conference that focused not just on doing the business, but self-care for the entrepreneur. So bringing that balance. So investing in ourselves is not just the business part, but we got to do some self-care on ourselves so we can be our best, show up as our best self. So they even had some relaxation things, some cooking demonstrations, things on God. Here are different ways that you can just take a minute, relax, refresh, reset, and then get back in there. So that conference was really nice. I like that because it was a good balance of business and self-care. And so yeah, we got to invest just personally in ourselves as well.
Love that. What about you, ladies?
Yes, definitely. I've invested in coaching. I've participated in several different programs, and there's always an aha moment, like, really? So I think it's very important to invest in those. I've even invested in, like she said, self-care programs, right? And just cause I need to break a breakaway, and I need a woosah moment. But yes, you should definitely invest in yourself and in coaching programs just to stay abreast of what's going on.
Makisha.
So can I offer another side to this?
Anytime, girl. Anytime. We're here for all the sides.
I absolutely agree with everything that Kiah and Bernice said, but I've personally done over 1,200 coaching calls with Black women over the past 10 years who are in business, and Black women are the most educated group in the country. We have all the certifications, we have all the degrees, we have all the professional development, we have all of the licensings, we have all of that because we are serious about making sure we know what we do. We're not just walking into places trying to just, we care about incompetence. And we take our work seriously generally, and I think that's why the numbers look that way. And then plus we all have had to see how new Jim Crow chased us all to the head of household role, over the years. And so many of us have had to provide, and education was a way for us to get higher level jobs and higher pay, even though we were still underpaid. So I say all that to say, a lot of times what I see is people taking the professional development thing in small business too far. And they come to me after they've dropped $10,000 on a coaching program, something that they did not need to pay $10,000 for, because they did it because they have imposter syndrome and they felt like the coaching program was going to teach them something that they didn't have. And they might not have had it, but the point I want to make is a lot of what you think you don't have, you're not going to get it from programs. You're going to get it from running the business, failing, and fixing it.
I need to repeat that.
A lot of what you're going to get from your business in terms of learning how to do it better is doing it. Because when you get it wrong, you fix it. And the reason why is because your business model is usually unique to your circumstances. Even if the model is not a brand new business on the market, like there's plenty of website companies out there, but Kia's website company doesn't exist anywhere with the people who have the expertise and her own self, her expertise, her background is different, her understanding, her business model, the customers she served, the offers and packages she have, they're unique. She's created her own. So there are things you're going to learn about your business by doing and get better at it. And that is real where most of the learning happens. And so if you delay that by saying, I don't have enough expertise, so I'm going to go do this program and this certification and this accelerator and this is, I just think I see people doing it not intentionally. Like they're not choosing a program with an intentional look at like a specific skill that they might need to build towards what they're trying to do. I see a lot of accelerator hoppers. I'm going to go from this accelerator to that accelerator to this boot camp.
Yep.
And I see a lot of people getting all the certifications. And when I dig underneath in coaching, a lot of it is like, I'm not good enough.
Insecurity. Yep.
It's an insecurity because they think that these other businesses have something they don't, and really they don't. They just messed up some stuff and fixed it right too, or got a good network, or but I just want to caution people against like not being strategic and intentional. I think everybody should have a growth plan and a PD plan of their own. Like I read like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back to school for my doctorate. So like I'm not suggesting people don't, and I've done a ton of PD from everywhere from Harvard to IDEO to like all the things. So I'm not suggesting those things aren't good, but when you go into business, it's not like when you're in, government institutions or corporate spaces in terms of like, I need this skill to do this particular job. You're an entrepreneur. You got to do 100 jobs or at least understand them. And you're not going to get the I can't tell you how many MBAs have told me that going through my program and running their own business on their own has really been where they knew what they needed to do because they've been on the ground working. Somebody just told me that this morning. She was like, I was just telling somebody not to go get their MBA, to just run your business because that's where the real learning is. And those MBAs are expensive, $85,000, $200,000. I'm like, one in my house.
They are expensive.
And some of these 6-figure coaches, they are 8-figure coaches. They're out here making a ton of money because they're charging you $10,000 and $20,000, the same amount you would pay for a degree, and it's not worth it all the time. So you just got to be
paying
really
that much money
about that, and making sure that when you go after your professional development, it's associated with a very clear vision you have for a skill you're trying to build, versus like I need this to feel like I can be a better CEO. And really address the healing that comes with healing that imposter syndrome and doing the work that Kiah talked about. When you do that self-care and that healing and that confidence work, you'll find that it's a bunch of white men out here who don't know what the hell they're doing, making millions of dollars.
So very true. But the cosign on what you said, every program is not for us. I remember someone who looked like us referred me to this women. It was a free newsletter thing, and every now and then they'll do these little check-in virtual things. And I was reading, and I actually went to one of them, and I could not relate because their world I did not understand. They didn't look like me. They didn't have our struggles. They didn't have our challenges in society. And I seriously could have taken over that whole thing and said, let me tell you how to really run a business. But I could not relate because their lives, and look, they had a certain type of privilege and opportunities just by the color of their skin that was not naturally open to us. So I had to back up and like, I'm not paying attention. So everything that says women empower, women in business, blah, 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 sometimes they don't even relate to us. So I'm happy to participate in this because this is unique to us. The way we run our business, the way we relate to each other in business or as our colleagues is different. It is very cultural, and it's a nuance that it's hard to explain. You just know it and you feel it. I just really could not relate to them. And I'm like, wow, that must be nice. I didn't know. She talking about, oh, I got my first contract and I did this and this. I was like, yeah, so I'm just like, wow, deep. You know how long I had to work on this proposal just for them to get me, I got the contract, but I put together like a 25-page, But yeah, it was, everything isn't for us. So we have to be careful and really vet these things or get referrals or something. Can't just be.
Yeah, we have a totally different experience.
Accelerator hopping, as you say. I like
that.
Yeah, and the thing,
it's like,
and the accelerator hoppers is, I've run into so many women that go through so many different programs, but then they don't implement the few things that they did learn. And they're still saying, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. But what happened when I asked them, well, tell me what you did in your accelerator program, and everything they said they didn't have, it was in their accelerator program. And I have to ask them, well, what are you doing right now? When you finish the homework, when you finish the program, you were supposed to go straight to your business and start playing around with it. It's like you can't keep going through program after program if you're not going to implement anything. Right. And that's hard. Like, oh, I got to do the work too. It's like,
yes.
That's right there.
With Keisha's point, it's balance of the two, but I agree with you. You do learn so much by doing it, not by hearing it, not by being in a room with people with the happy energy, talking about stuff. At some point, you got to get out of that room and actually do it and go through the pains. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it can be stressful. Yes, it can overwhelm you. Yes, it can be painful, but you don't have to go through all of that. There is no pretty way to be an entrepreneur. There is not. So if that's your mindset is it's supposed to feel good all the time, that's unrealistic. You got to make the mistakes and learn from them and be mad about stuff and get over it and keep going. They're going to be down times. It's going to be hard times. There are going to be times when you don't know what to do. But the only way to figure out what to do is to be in that position, to be in that spot where you don't know. I don't know. And then the answer comes. And then the right person comes along. The right information comes along. But if you're running from course to course, you that's no way to build a business.
And you're delaying the inevitable. You're gonna if you want to succeed, you're gonna go on this journey and you're gonna put in the time. So the longer you wait to put in the time, the longer you're delaying getting to where you're trying to be in the business. But you have to put in hours, days, years of time to get your business where you want it to be. So if you keep delaying it and keep preparing and you don't get out the lab and actually get out there, you still gonna have to get out there when you're done with all that. So you're delaying.
Yes, all that preparation. And I think I could go on that. So next question. How do you keep your money mindset healthy when your business feels slow and inconsistent? What works?
Well, I mean, part of it, when you get into business for a certain number of years, you learn the seasons of your business.
Yeah.
Every business has a season. And I learned that my season, it slows down towards the end of the year because it's holiday season and things like that. So I had to pivot. I was like, okay, so in preparation for that, one, with money, since I know that now, it took me about 2 years, maybe 3 years to really see the ebbs and flows and see the patterns in my business. And now the ebbs and flows aren't as great. It used to be like this, but now it's, it's like this through experience. So I know that, okay, when I get this, you get a contract, put some money aside because you need something to float you during those slow times. We get excited with the big contracts and you just want to, I'm going to splurge, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get this new, toy, or I'm going to, get some more software to do this. And you do want to invest in your business and invest in yourself. But that's what I learned to do. But then I also said, well, can I offer something or do something, pivot in the slow times, either do more work on the business side of things, catch up on my books, maybe do another training or something like that. build with my team that when we start out, in January, this is what we're going to do, to really jump. Because in the beginning of the year, a lot of things happen. And it depends on the client, because I have nonprofit clients. I work with a few universities who don't have full-time webmasters, so they bring us in to kind of hold it down so they can get some full-time webmasters, and some nonprofits and for-profit business. So the for-profit ones, they may escalate because if they have something they can sell in the holiday season, so I can pivot and help them out. Because their seasons pick up when mine's are slow. It's like, okay, we can deal with the for-profit business. For nonprofits, end of the quarter, grants are running out. The funding is leveling out. They got to write new grants and wait for the funding to come in for the net. So it's like learning your client base, at least in my case, with these 3 different type of structures: educational institutions, nonprofits, and for-profit. They have their seasons. So I had to adjust a little bit to mimic their seasons so that my ebbs and flows are not as great. So that just takes time of doing the business and learning. It may take a good solid 2 or 3 years, maybe 4, to learn the seasons of your business and the clients that you regularly attract to your business, or the ones you're going after through these RFPs or through referrals or through networking, knowing your target market. So at least for me, I've gotten better at that. At first, it was scary. It was, I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And so I probably, I read some books on entrepreneurship and things, and and talk to people. I talked to other business owners who were in the industry longer than I have. Maybe not in my industry, but at the end of the day, behind every business, there's certain things that are the same as far as running the administrative part. So I talked to other business owners who were successful in at least 10 or more years and got some advice from them. And that really helped me kind of manage the ebbs and flows. So it's not as extreme as they were when I first started out.
Got that. So learning your business cycle in the business cycle of your customers.
Yes.
And working within those. Wonderful. What about you, ladies?
Yeah, for me, the same thing. I had to learn my cycle, and my cycle dwindles off in the end of the year. So I learned to do more grinding during those first 3 quarters, just so I can have the income I need to offset that. And within that downtime, I do a lot of creating. I work with a lot of different programming, trying to create other things. And I take the time. I still do business, but it's just not as heavy. But because, I'm older, I take the time to live a little bit, travel a little bit, and live, right? Because when I spend all that time just grinding and working and grinding and working with very little sabbatical for me, I make sure I have that nest egg sitting right there, because it's time for me to woosah, right? And that's when I can work on the business, right? I can create new programs, so I can create this thing that I'm trying to create, or finish writing my books, because that's me time for me. Even though I work, it's just not as heavy, and I just want to live a little bit.
Okay. Yes. Then you definitely deserve that. Makisha.
So first, I just want to say, I think Kia's whole everything she just said was brilliant. Like, I just really feel that the ebbs and flows that she describes really are a testament to her move towards predictability in revenue. And so I'm not necessarily talking about how much money she's bringing in. I'm talking about how she's showing how over time I can have more predictability, not this and this and this, and more steady cash flow. And so really careful attention to like the cash flow when the money does come in. How are you making sure that you make it stretch, that you're being smart about thinking about down seasons? That's really smart. So she's paying particular attention to cash flow in and out. And cash flow, the difference between revenue and cash flow is largely just timing. When is the money coming in and out? Because you can make 6 figures or 7 figures, but if all of it comes in the first half of the year and you spend it, then what you do in the second half of the year? So cash flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you might be good at bringing in revenue, but are you good at cash flow? And she really spoke to that. And I think that's brilliant, because I want to say something crazy like 82% of businesses that fail due to cash flow problems. So that's really important to listen what she said.
Yes.
And then working on the back end of the business when things are slow is really important, because you don't realize how back end systems often impact cost and efficiencies. And sometimes you don't have the time to work on them. And so don't just sit there in despair. Like, what does this business need while I'm waiting for these dollars to come in, or working on these dollars coming in? Like, I'm piggybacking on everything she said, because she just hit the nail on the head. The only thing, and predictability and cash flow predictability is how you get your business to maturity. Like, you want a mature business. You know your business is an infant if you have no clue on when money is coming or going, and you just risk, and it feels like a huge risk because you don't know if you're going to be able to pay bills every month. So your goal is not necessarily just bringing in revenue, but getting your business to a mature space where there's a predictable profit. The thing that I will say, though, now that I didn't just completely just piggyback on Kiah, because it was just a brilliant is like, look at your sales pipeline. And use your numbers to look at what's coming and going. Like, a lot of times we just like, money's not coming in, I don't know what to do, and we are helpless. And that's because you're not data driven, and you're not looking at your traffic sources, you're not looking at your pipeline, and you're not looking at your conversion rates and that sort of thing. And so if you take what Kiah said around, like, your seasons, then you think about what pipelines are feeding each season. Like she said, she has a certain industry stream of revenue in certain seasons. Those are her pipelines in those seasons. And so really identifying the pipelines associated, like, where's the business coming from? Finding new traffic sources is really important to look at when times are down.
Wonderful. Great information. Great information. Okay, ladies. I appreciate you so much for being here with us today. This has been a blast. So much good information for those entrepreneurs out there listening in their first 5 years, wondering how to manage their money, thinking about what their money mindset is and where they should go from here. So they've got a lot of great information to go on from us today. So thank you so much for being a part of our roundtable series on the Empower Her Business podcast. And as always, I wish you each the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you.
So now we're going to go into the closing session of our podcast. And I'm going to ask each of you to answer these 3 questions. The first one is, if your younger entrepreneur self sent you an invoice today, what do you think she'd charge you, and what would you write in the margins?
Know your value, and be confident in your talent, and charge accordingly.
All right. I like that. Bernice.
I would tell her to rethink what she's charging me and make sure the value is matching what she's delivering. Be strong, be confident, and just walk out there.
All right. Makisha.
And the question is, if I could tell my younger self something about pricing?
Yes.
Oh, I know. I think the biggest thing for me with pricing is I would tell my younger self, like, don't sleep on getting your costs as low as possible to deliver, because you're going to take home more money. Like, do not put that on the back end. Like, don't splurge. Like, just really keep your costs as low as possible for what you're offering, and take that seriously.
Wonderful, wonderful. Second question. If there was one Black woman entrepreneur you could trade places with for a week, you can step into her shoes and whatever her type of business she's in, and you can experience what it is to be in her position for a week. Who would you choose and why?
The first one that comes into my mind is Maggie Anderson. She is the one who wrote the book, Our Black Year, and I actually got to meet her.
Ah,
And
okay.
she signed my book. She's more of an entrepreneur advocate because her passion for highlighting, elevating, and honoring our businesses, I was impressed by that. Because that's how I'm like, let me see who in my community offers this service that I may need. It could be home repair, it could be anything. Do we offer it? I'll go there first. And if not, then I'll go outside my community. So I really, because from back in the day, I have my activism side that I'm really about our community. So I appreciate her work and what she has done over the years, how she's continued to promote our businesses and recycling the dollars in our community.
Yes.
And I'm very impressed with what she does because I try to do it in my own small way, but she's gone international with that. And I think it's so important that we continue to recycle the dollars in our community.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Bernice, who would you want to step into the shoes of for a week?
Well, the person that comes to my mind is Teresa Harrison. She's the CEO of George Street, and it's an IT company, and I like her because she's bold and she's matter of factly, right? And I like that, like to the point, rip the Band-Aid off. And she's a serial entrepreneurial, and she has guided me in so many different ways until it's just, I mean, I can't even tell you. So that's who I would love to mimic.
Wonderful. Makisha.
I think maybe Sheila Johnson. She's the wife of Robert Johnson, who used to run BET. And I just read her biography, so I'm familiar with her different properties and resorts that she runs as a CEO and a billionaire. And so I would love to spend a week just, with that level of resources in that business, because I used to run a day spa, so I have an affinity towards like hospitality type businesses, and that I think that would be fun.
Wonderful. Wonderful. She has a property down here in Florida. What are you ladies? What is your number one go-to for self-care? Like working so hard in our businesses, working hard to help others. We have to always be mindful to take care of the MVP in the business, which is us. So what do you ladies go to for when you know you need to take a break and take care of yourself? How do you express that?
Well, people may think this is a little out there, but I actually turn my cell phone off in the evenings around 6. I barely put it on the weekends because that's the main line that the clients, and I still have a house phone. So I unplug. I'm on this device all the time to do my work. I have to unplug. So that's one thing I do on a regular basis. I unplug because I learned that's what motivated me to get a cell phone that shows how long I've been in this business, because I was using my house phone when I started and clients were calling me late at night, especially male clients. And I'm like, you're not calling me about a website at 9 p.m. Are you serious? Let me go get a cell phone. So that separation of my time and the business time. I've been doing African dance is my go-to. I've been doing that since I was in college. So I still go and I do, I go to dance class and I teach sometimes. So that is my release and cultural enrichment and all of that. And hearing the drums, it really just, I enjoy that. And I like walking in nature, go to the park and I'm just in awe of nature. Like, how did this one little seed grow into this huge tree, or this flower? How does nature know to do that? How does spirit know? So I enjoy being out in nature and just really connecting with everything and just breathing in the positive energy and breathing out the stress. And so those are like my go-tos, and what helps is that my daughter doesn't mind hanging with me. She's like, I'm gonna go to the
Beautiful.
park. So she's 24 now, but she still likes hanging with mama and spending time with my husband. And I'm more social than he is, but sometimes be like, come on, let's family time. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. What about you, ladies?
Myself, well, I love creating Zen moments in the house. Everybody's gone and it's just me. So I like to listen to frequencies. I like to just have really soft lighting, not quite dark, but just soft like candlelight. So I like candlelights. I'll do spa moments, or I'll just
Nice.
sit on the couch and just read while different kind of frequencies and tones play throughout the house. And my other one is if I could just watch some anime in peace. Stop disturbing me. And don't ask me why my grown behind is watching anime.
Don't feel bad. I love Star Trek. Don't feel bad. Star Trek is my go-to. I know them. I've seen them all, and I keep rewatching them from Kirk. My family, I watch, Next Generation. It's like, I'm gonna watch it in reverse. Let's go back from Voyager. No, I'm gonna watch it from Kirk, and then they get this new one. I'm gonna go back to Enterprise, and I'll be watching it in different order. My face, like, how many times have you seen Star Trek? Well, every time I watch it, I see something new.
You see something new.
Yeah. Don't
Right?
feel bad about your anime. Get your anime.
Right. And people have no idea how biblical some of this anime is. And it's like, oh, I know where you're coming from. And it's actually pretty good. But yeah, as long as I can get some quiet time, I'm good. Quiet time, bath moments, and just some serenity.
Love that, love that. Makisha, what's your go-to for self-care?
So for me, I'm supposed to be headed to an acupuncture appointment shortly for one.
Good.
I try to do that monthly. But at my core, clean eating is really important for my hormones, for my mood, for my like energy levels. And so it's really important for me to like eat clean and nourish my body, sleep well, and go to bed on time. Walk and get outdoors and move. So whether I do a combination of the gym and walking, and dancing sometimes, and stuff like that. So movement's really important for me. And then in terms of treatments, we call it the naked spa, like going to the pools, the Korean spas with the pools and the steam rooms and the saunas and all that stuff. I'm like a big spa person, so I love those kind of like treatments and getaways.
Got it. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Thank you, ladies. So that is the conclusion of our After the Podcast episode. You've been listening to the Empower Her Business podcast. And before you go, I want to thank you for being here. If this episode supported you, please pay it forward. You can do that by hitting the follow button, rating us 5 stars, leaving a comment, and sharing us with others. This is how we ensure the podcast reaches more sisters in business. Until next time, I wish you the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Be well.